Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. And thank you for joining us for the 22nd Annual IHA Health Literacy Conference. So glad you're here with us. My name is Michael Hilaire. I'm President and CEO of the Institute for Healthcare Advancement, IHA, and we're your hosts for this conference. Can we go for the next slide, please? So I wanted to just talk a little bit about who we are and what we do. We are a nonprofit 501c3 public charity. We have a mission initiative to advance health literacy toward health equity. We've been active in the area of health literacy since 1999. I want to just talk a little bit about some of the initiatives we have. I want to be very brief. A lot of the stuff that we do really is to support and help advance the field of health literacy. And so some of our initiatives are really consumer facing. Some of them are more professional facing. So first off, we have a few things that we offer which are directed toward consumers. The first one is our What to Do for Health book series. That is a series of self-help health books. These are all written at a 3rd to 5th grade reading level. They're all available in English and Spanish. Some of them are available in other languages as well. And more than 5.5 million copies of these have been distributed. Next slide, please. Also, we have another series of publications that are smaller ones that are called, we call them micropubs. They're 24 to 40 page booklets, also written at a 3rd to 5th grade reading level. And these are really designed to help individuals manage their health, more like chronic health and mental health issues. These are also written in the same easy to read, easy to understand format. And for those of you who wish to distribute these to your stakeholders, to your patients, your clients, there's some co-branding opportunities there. So next slide, please. So now on the other side of the coin, those the products and services that we offer that are geared more toward the health literacy community. We launched in 2019 an online international indexed, interdisciplinary, and open access publication. This is a peer-reviewed journal called Health Literacy Research and Practice. Our editor-in-chief is Dr. Michael Paciorlo. You can see all of the rationale for our publication there. Since we've launched, we've published more than 100 articles from over 340 that were submitted. And if you are if you're an author of either research or practice articles, we strongly suggest that you submit your article to our publication. Next slide, please. One of the other ways that we really help support the health literacy community is by providing an online platform for everybody to join together and to learn and to network with one another. That's our Health Literacy Solutions Center. You may have gone to that when you registered. This is the URL for that is healthliteracysolutions.org. That's also the place where we have our main health literacy discussion list. That's something you can sign up for. And if you want to leverage the power and the knowledge of the whole health literacy community, we have almost 14,000 members. You can ask a question and people will jump right in and answer that question. A lot of great exchanges about products and resources and information. It's just a great place to learn and to network with your colleagues. So we really strongly encourage you. No cost for that. That's available free. Lots of learning opportunities, links to conferences, resource library, a lot of ways for you to really kind of, keep up to date on what's going on in the health literacy field. Next slide, please. One of the big things that happens in health literacy is Health Literacy Month. Got to give a big tip of the cap to its founder, Helen Osborne. She started that back in, I think, 1999 or 2000. She's been doing that forever. We were fortunate enough to be able to partner with her and help bring that to the rest of the health literacy community. October is Health Literacy Month each year, and we always encourage people to really focus on that month to help raise awareness about health literacy. And there's the URL for you, healthliteracymonth.org, if you wish to find out more about that. Next slide, please. And this is probably one of our real North Star, if you will, initiatives, and one that I'm the most proud of. This is the Health Literacy Specialist Certificate Program. This was a very rigorously designed educational program that asks the question, what does a person need to know and what does a person need to be able to do in order to be considered a health literacy specialist by their peers within the health literacy community? And this was, as I said, very rigorously designed, built according to the standards for the Institute for Credentialing Excellence. Continuing education credits are available for that. More information is available there on the Solution Center, as you see the URL, healthliteracysolutions.org. Let's take a look at what those different certificate micro-credentials are. Next slide, please. So the health literacy specialist comprises 7 different areas: communication, education, ethics, public health, organizational systems and policies, language, culture, and diversity, and community engagement. Total of about 55 hours of coursework across those 7 areas. Next slide, please. And then we also do conferences. Obviously, you're at ours right now. This is the annual Health Literacy Conference, and we do a couple of others. Next slide, please. This is our Health Literacy in Action Conference. This is kind of practice and policy conference. We do this in collaboration with the Horowitz Center for Health Literacy at the University of Maryland School of Public Health and our good friend Cynthia Bauer. We've been doing this for I think 6 years. I believe this will be our 6th annual conference for that. Next slide, please. And then there's the Health Literacy Research Conference, Advancing Health Literacy Research to Improve Health Equity. There's the dates for the 2023 conference. As I mentioned before, our journal editor, Michael Pashorlo, is also the conference organizer for this. He had done this for years and years, and we kind of stepped in a few years ago to make sure that that this conference was able to continue to go on and move forward. And this is just like the Health Literacy in Action Conference, the HARC conference is also virtual as well. And next slide, please. Which is our next conference. This is also one which we partner with Arizona. This will be their 4th annual Health Literacy Conference. And they've been doing this for 4 years. Theme for this year is Trust, the Core of Health and Wellbeing. At this point, I would like to turn the presentation over to your conference organizer and really the brain trust behind the whole design of this entire conference, Diana Pena-Gonzalez, who is our Health Literacy Education Director. Diana, take it away.
Hi, Michael. And I would like to give a big thank you to, first of all, to everyone that has helped put together the conference and all our speakers. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here today. And so I would like to give a thank you to them, but also, it's because of them that we're able to share thoughts and experiences today and hopefully share some insights moving forward after this year's conference. So this year's conference, our theme is Working Better Together, Leveraging the Power of Health Literacy to Improve Health Equity. And so what does that even really mean, right? I used to have a math professor who told me when you approach a problem, the first thing that you got to do is start with what you know. And so that's just worked great for math. And so I just apply it liberally to all my problems now. And so if we think about that in regards to health literacy, we think about what do we know about health literacy? Well, we know that a large portion of our society has limited or low literacy levels. We also know that literacy is socially determined. So if you're a member of a minority group, if you're living in an area that is under-resourced, if you're living in poverty, if you don't speak the dominant language, you're more likely to have low literacy skills. We also know that research tells us that literacy is linked to health outcomes. So these individuals are also usually juggling numerous chronic conditions at one time. They're also facing barriers to information and services, and they're also likely living in oppressive environments. So those are some of the challenges that we know. But what are some of the solutions that we know about health literacy? We know that programs that are dedicated to these disparities have made large impacts. Particularly when we look at programs during public health emergencies, we have seen changes in behavior and even in culture. We have seen that these public health emergencies, such as outbreaks, that they don't just take place in a single event. They tend to have a ripple effect. And so let me show you what I mean, for example. So take, for example, the outbreak of typhoid in the 1900s, right? So there was a disparity of one group of people had, toilets, they had access to a water closet, private water closets, and on the other hand, we have a group of individuals or population that are living in tenement housing, such as this one, where they live in close quarters. They're also likely to be sharing outhouses. Usually 20, 25 people are sharing one outhouse. And you can imagine how quickly those outhouses were filling up. So the ripple effect that came from this public health emergency was that one, improvements in technology, right? Particularly water filtration. The second thing that came about was housing policies. So now we have these benchmarks of what is humane, what are humane living conditions. Another outbreak that I want to share with you is the diphtheria outbreak in Nome, Alaska. So they had this outbreak in Nome, Alaska. It's a rural area, and they needed to get the antitoxin serum quickly to their town. So they tapped into their fastest dog sled racers, and they said, go get the serum. And they said, yes, of course, we'll help do what we can. And so they went and got the serum. That run now is known as the Mercy Run, and it's commemorated every year by the Iditarod race in Alaska. And there's numerous movies that have come about that. And so that's a cultural tradition thing that now we do to commemorate the bravery of those dog sled teams. But the ripple effect that came from that was, one, an awareness about rural health, and also for me and for the public health sector is that there's awareness about there's populations that exist in our blind spots. And so our panelists and also our keynote speaker later on today will talk about, why we have blind spots and how those might even happen. The last outbreak that I want to leave you with is a tuberculosis outbreak. And this one's particularly more directly linked to health literacy, in the sense that there's this association that worked with the Edison's motion picture, and they created 6 short films on tuberculosis. They copied these films and they sent them out everywhere. And it was so effective of getting the information out about tuberculosis that they also used it for the polio outbreak. And so the ripple effect we see from this was that there was an awareness to make health information more accessible and more equitable. So that way information can be spread across more regions more equitably, but also it gave awareness to how we share the messages in a way that takes into consideration our communication abilities. So what we see now is that now is our opportunity to shape what comes next. We have an opportunity to decide what ripple effect we would like to start and leave for our society. So that is what our conference is about, is how do we work better together so that we can gather insights from one another, so that we can bring people to the table who have been systemically silenced, so that we can call each other out on our blind spots, so that we can make sure that we're not leaving anybody behind. We're also working better together by honing our workforce, by sharing our experiences with one another, by letting each other know what's going on. In addition to knowing what's going on, you can check out the homepage to see what's the latest and greatest in health literacy, on policy, on international updates on what's going on in research, and you can also find out on how to engage more into the health literacy community by checking out Julie McKinney's information on the discussion list. Lastly, on day 3, we're going to be talking about diverse communication strategies. And so we talk about people with low literacy levels. They have a certain amount of words that they can pull from. And then when we talk about medical information or health, that's a smaller pool of information that they can pull from. And so how do we extend our hands to them to enrich that conversation? What can we do? What tools do we have? What strategies do we have? And where can we pull from outside organizations or outside domain subject areas such as therapy to help enrich that conversation or even build trust within that relationship? Also, we'll look towards art to help us be a medium to increase and enrich that communication, but also how can we provide a platform for our community to be able to talk to us in their own voice, in the ways that matter to them, in the words that they have, in the ways that they can express themselves. And so to set us up for that, with this year, we've instilled an e-art gallery that you could take a look at. We've partnered with the Rockford Ready, who they have a brilliant youth poet speaking about health literacy and what health literacy means to youth and herself. There's also, we partnered with the Opioid Project, and you can view art there that's been painted by people that are affected by the opioid crisis. And there's audio there as well that you can hear them talk about why they painted it and what the opioid crisis means to them. And hopefully it'll be some form of inspiration for us to hear their voice and also figure out how we can help to mitigate this opioid crisis issue that we are all dealing with. The last thing I'll leave you with is just an ask. If you can please rate the posters. We have 3 Amazon gift cards on the line here. So if you can go onto the posters and rate them by Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, because on Thursday morning, we're going to announce the winners. And so you could check it out on the homepage to see who won.